What's up everyone? On today's video, we're going over the pros and cons of living in Howell, New Jersey. We're going to cover a couple different topics like the location, school systems, property taxes, and a few others. Before we get started though, if this is your first time to the channel, my name is Steve McCutcheon and I'm a realtor at Berkshire Hathaway. On the Live in Central New Jersey channel, we cover everything related to the Central Jersey real estate market. So if you're one of the first ones to know what's going on in either Monmouth or Ocean County real estate, feel free to click the bell, hit the subscribe button. Let's get this video started. The very first pro about living in Howell is going to be the location. So as you can see from the photo popping up, Howell is going to be located in the southern part of Monmouth County, and it borders a couple different towns like Freehold, Colts Neck, Wall, just to kind of name a few. Howell is also going to be the largest municipality in Monmouth County, ranking first out of 53 towns, and it comes in at just above 61 square miles. It also ranks at 21st in the state in terms of size. There are a couple different major roadways that run through it that are going to be important for commuting purposes. You have Route 9 that's going to go north to south. That's going to be non-toll road. Route 195 that goes east to west, also non-toll. And while the Garden State Parkway doesn't quite make it into Howell, it's right on the border of it, and that's going to get you north to south as well. That's going to be one of the two major highways that you would take to get in, or in order to get into New York City. Where Howell is located, it's actually a pretty prime location. So with Monmouth County, if you're in the northern part, you typically just commute to New York City. But with Howell being on the southern border, you can actually get to New York City or Philadelphia relatively pretty easily. That's where 195 kind of plays its part. So when you live in Howell, you can take 195 going west and you go out towards Philly that way. In my opinion, it's probably going to be a slightly quicker commute than going up north to New York City, because from New York to Howell, you're probably looking, assuming traffic, assuming everything else, you're looking at least probably 2 hours. On a non-traffic day, maybe like a holiday, work day, like people that aren't going into the office, you can pretty much get to New York City in about an hour, 15, hour and a half. It is that close. At like, hour and a half would be tops at that point. But you're gonna have to commute in rush hour traffic, so more likely not, probably closer to 2 hours for New York. Philadelphia, on the other hand, you're probably looking closer to an hour and a half. So that's why we say it would be slightly easier just time-wise. But either way, you really can't go wrong. If that's within your time frame for commute, you can get to New York City or Philadelphia pretty easily. Last but not least, before I forget to, you're also close to a bunch of different Jersey Shore towns living in Howell, so you can head over to Belmar, Asbury Park, Manasquan, Point Pleasant, just to kind of name a few. They're all a little different in their own sense. Some will have a boardwalk with games like Point Pleasant. Other ones might just have a boardwalk with shops on it like Belmar. So you just kind of have to pick and choose which one you might like the most. All have relatively pretty good nightlife as well. If you're looking to go out during the summertime, it's always your nice little night out at the Jersey Shore. Pro number 2 of living in Howell is going to be the public school district and education. So when it comes to living in Howell, you have two different public school districts. You have the Howell Township Public School District, and then you have the Freehold Regional High School District. When it comes to the Howell, you just have the elementary and middle schools. The elementary schools are rated pretty highly in Howell. According to niche.com, you have 4 of them that are going to be rated an A- or better. And then when it comes to the Freehold Regional High School District, your child will most likely be districted to Howell High School. But if you live in the more northern part of Howell, they do have a Freehold mailing address, and the border is kind of interchangeable a little bit. I went to Freehold Township when I was growing up, so I had friends that lived in Howell as well. They were actually districted to our high school, which is kind of like, I don't know exactly where the lines are drawn, but there's a potential for that as well. So maybe you want to be aware of which one you want to go to. On the other hand, too, with the Freehold Regional High School District, there are 6 public schools. You have Howell, Freehold Township, like I just mentioned, Freehold Borough, Manalapan, Marlboro, and Colts Neck. Within these, they're all going to specialize in a certain study, and this is called the magnet program. So when your child is in 8th grade, they can actually apply to the magnet program. It is very competitive, so just be aware of this. Not everyone gets accepted, but if they want to, they have an idea of what kind of career path they want to go down, there's a specific study, they can apply to a program within the district that they might be interested in. For instance, let's just take Marlboro, for example. That's going to be business administration. If your child is interested in, they apply to the magnet program in the fall. If accepted, they would then they would become a Marlboro student and take all their classes there. It wouldn't just be a one-class thing and get reverted back. They would just go to get busing up to there. And then if they were to drop out, you get reverted back to whatever district you would go to. So for instance, if you live in Howell, then you'd obviously go back to Howell High School. So it's a really cool program. It gives kids an idea of what they may want to study, if it's for them, all that kind of stuff. So highly recommend checking it out. And if you want more information, just go to freeholdregionalhighschool.com. Pro number 3 of living in Howell is going to be all the shopping and dining options available to you. Now, the majority of these are going to be on Route 9. It's that highway that I mentioned before, the commuting that runs north to south. And realistically, though, a lot of the neighborhoods and developments that are actually already built upon, they're going to hover around this area anyway, so it's not too inconvenient at all. There's going to be plenty of different strip malls. I think you have 3 to 4 food stores. Every strip mall also seems to have like a Chinese place, a pizza place, bagel place, any of like your main cuisines that you're really interested in. If you're looking for restaurants more sit down, they have a couple different chains in restaurant, from Applebee's to Texas Roadhouse. If you're looking for more of like a non-chain, maybe mom and pop restaurant, something like more specialty, highly recommend just going and checking out like the many different restaurants we have along the Jersey Shore. Belmar has a bunch, Point Pleasant has some really good eateries over there. So I would go more over that way if you're looking for something along those lines. Then you have a convenience store like Walgreens on Route 9. If you're a big DIYer, you can head over to Home Depot, get your supplies, and then there's also a Harbor Freight for the tools. The list goes on and on. You can run through them all day. It's a really good area to go shopping. And if you want to grab a quick bite to eat, there's like McDonald's, Burger King, Chick-fil-A, pretty much everything you got. Not all rainbows and butterflies when it comes to living in Howell. There are some cons to it, so let's start breaking down that list. The very first one is going to be the high property taxes. Now, this is going to be a statewide issue. New Jersey actually ranks first out of all the states in the entire U.S. when it comes to property tax with a 2.33% effective tax rate. So we are the most expensive state to live in terms of that, and Howell is obviously going to be no exception of it, especially with Monmouth County being one of the top tier towns or top tier counties when it comes to property tax. There are some cheaper counties if you go a little farther south into New Jersey, but Monmouth County isn't one of them. On the flip side though, a good thing about living in Howell is it's slightly cheaper than the average for your home prices. So while the taxes are going to be higher, home prices are a little bit lower. I think this has to do with a little bit of the fact that out of all the towns to commute from, Howell is going to be one of the furthest ones away. So people will settle down a little farther north, and it's a little bit more competitive up there than it might be for living in Howell. So for instance, if you're looking to if you want to be close to Route 9, would you rather live in Marlboro or Manalapan? That's going to be farther up north. Or would you rather live in like that Freehold and Howell area where you're going to have to drive that extra half an hour farther south? So it kind of just comes into the time aspect of it. That's why I think the home prices are a little bit cheaper. But just to give you an idea, as of May of 2024 right now, Howell's median home price is going to be $607,000, while Monmouth County as a whole is going to be $650,000. The second con of living in Howell is going to be the limited public transportation. If you've seen a few of my other public or pros and cons videos, you'll notice that this is a common theme. Monmouth County isn't necessarily a very walkable county. A lot of their towns, especially Howell being on the larger side, the biggest in the county, 61 square miles, obviously isn't going to be very walkable by any means. So the only public transportation that Howell has is going to be the bus that goes up and down Route 9, north to south, mainly just to bring it into commuting to New York City. Other than that though, there's nothing really to get you east to west on there necessarily. The only train that runs into Monmouth County is going to be along the Jersey Shore. Those cities are probably going to be the only ones that are walkable in a sense. Most of them are going to be on the smaller side, maybe about a mile and a half in terms of just size. So they're not too large. If you get off the train, you can technically walk to someplace, but even then, sometimes you only need a 5-minute Uber ride. So you're going to need your own vehicle. So add that to your monthly budget. It's not necessarily fun right now, especially with the interest rates where they are. You think housing ones are high, car interest rates definitely are going to be high too right now. So add that into your monthly expenses. You're going to need a personal vehicle in order to get around Howell and Monmouth County as a whole. Con number 3 of living in Howell is going to be the new development in the area. So with Howell being a suburban town, they do face a little bit of pressure when it comes to development and building in the area. Recently, we've seen a lot of condos and townhomes or luxury apartments being built across the southern part of Route 9 and also part around the southern border. In that Ramtown section, there are a bunch of different single-family homes going up. There are also, on the commercial side, a few warehouses in certain areas. Now, being as large as Howell is, obviously there is probably room for this, but one of the beautiful things about Howell is also the fact that you can get a lot with a little bit more land, there's a little bit more privacy, and it's starting to kind of take away from that a little bit. A lot of the residents' fears are going to be just more traffic congestion and just people in general being in the area. So just kind of give you a heads up on that. If you're in the more southern part of Howell that wasn't built up before, it is starting to now. If you're looking to buy or sell in the Howell area, feel free to reach out. All my contact information is going to be in the comments and the description down below. Whether you're 1 month, 3 months, 6 months, even a year out, it doesn't matter to me. Let's just get you on the right path towards your real estate goals. And if you're looking to move to a different part of the Central Jersey area, feel free to check out the other 2 videos popping up here and hopefully help you out a little bit too. Have a great day. Thanks for watching.